Ghana my here yellow. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo. Ghana be me fallible. Wami bi wala se chele kemi habu. Wami habu afijro. Keshi rejo. Owashi. Ni oya oshiwole no. Ni mambi bua ose. O boy modern. Ni ojie Ghana. Keje man se one more 3D mling. When chele aha owala se ache. He wale, keja moni mlenko. Asang, ebo esiba, kawu misi, echa wamale. Ebi, ni wake eko mefe mo abuwa wahena. Koni Ghana ako mama papa ebu. Wache Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo. Ghana my here in yellow. Wale ake Ghana ka oshino. Obaye twenjole hewo. Me femo hewo. Kesi omoni oyo ke hamale no ya hewo. She ofele abo chui saleke ekan. Koni okuda Ghana. Kaya shiwo shikpale no. So, Susu Bribi, Awani Nana, Echie Nana, Baramanewo, Mawo Swe, Ruminiwamu, Kasa, Nagana mai aya siritieu.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the master drama was Samuel Kwe. Narrators were Gifty Tego, Christabel Nyade, Charlotte Opoku, and Samira to Ibrahim. The pupils were taken through rehearsals by Mr. Justice Ronipa, Accra Metro Cultural Coordinator, and this was done under careful supervision of Mrs. Joy Afreniama, Director, National Coordinator for Cultural Education, Ghana Education Service. Shall we give them a round of applause?
Eminent clergy, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our guest of honor, First Lady, Vice President and Second Lady, the Right Honorable Speaker and spouse, Madam Chief Justice, Chairperson and members of the Council of State, the first and second presidents of the Fourth Republic, the former First Lady, our former Vice President, the former Prime Minister of Guinea, President of the Nigerian Senate, dignitaries of the Ghanaian and Nigerian states, traditional rulers, members of the diplomatic corps, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. It is 61 years today since our nation, Ghana, won her independence, and it is fitting that we should gather to celebrate the anniversary of this special day. I must first of all extend on behalf of all Ghanaians a warm welcome to our guest of honor, that sterling champion of the battle against one of Africa's most pernicious diseases, corruption. A warm welcome to our guest of honor, that sterling champion of the battle against one of Africa's most pernicious diseases, corruption in public life, Muhammadu Buhari. President of the Great Federal Republic of Nigeria and his delegation. We are delighted that he has accepted our invitation to share this special day with us. Nigeria Mampenyi Muhammadu Buhari, Yamawo Nuwahokafo, Akwa Basrunkon. Sandazoa Muhammadu Buhari, Shugaban Kasa, Nigeria, Damutani Ka. Last year, at the 60th independence anniversary, I announced that on my way here, I'd cut the sod for the construction of a national cathedral, which would serve as an interdenominational place of worship for important national occasions. This year, I'm happy to announce that on my way here, I have unveiled the beautiful design of the cathedral that has been done by the world-acclaimed Ghanaian architect, David Addo. God will see the project through for us. At its birth, great things were expected of this nation of ours, and even greater things were expected of those who would have the honor to be called Ghanaians. This is the country, after all, that blazed the trail for independence on the African continent, and with it came a grave responsibility to be forever measured, to be forever used as a measure of how the continent was doing. In many ways, we rose to the occasion. The many and varied peoples that came together through happenstance or deliberate actions to form the modern state of Ghana have crafted a common identity. We might be Dagatis, Sisalas, Dagombas, Mamprusis, Gonjas, Kokumbas, Frafras, Grushis, Kusasis, Gans, Krobos, Eves, Fantis, Denchras, Gomoas, Guans, Inzemas, Ahantas, Sefis, Achems, Akwamus, Ekwapems, Kwahus, Bronx, or Ashantis. We might sometimes even lapse into ancient rivalry modes, but as Ghanaians, we are comfortable in our skin. This sense of identity shows in our clothes, in our foods, in our music, and in our politics. 61 years after this nation pledged itself to the total liberation of the continent, in the immemorial words of our first leader, Kwame Nkrumah, on that unforgettable night of 5th March 1957 at the old Polo Grounds, a few hundred yards from here, that, and I quote, "Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa," and unquote. We have remained faithful to our Pan-African vocation. We know that our struggle for economic growth and independence cannot be for our nation alone, but for the entire African continent. A few weeks ago, in the hallowed halls of the United States Congress, as their president came to deliver the State of the Union address, a group of congressmen and women wanted to make a statement of support for African nations. They draped kente strips over their clothing, and that said it all. Ghana's kente has come to identify the African continent and its peoples. The kente best spells out the fact that we are a dynamic people, unafraid to put our best foot forward and unafraid constantly to adapt our cultures and traditions. We wear it with pride and in style. That quintessential Ghanaian patriot, scholar and cultural icon, Ephraim Amu, will certainly be looking now with admiration and satisfaction. At least, as far as clothing is concerned, we seem to have accepted his admonitions to be self-reliant and take pride in what was ours rather than copy others. During his time, Ora Amu fought a lonely battle, but today it seems strange to us that anyone ever suggested that you had to be dressed in European-style clothes to be accepted as a scholar or even to show up in church. Apart from the physical, outward things that identify us, there are the more subtle but important things that define us as Ghanaians. Everybody's list will doubtless be different. Let me cite a few of my favorite ones. We are a hospitable people. We make strangers and visitors feel at home. It is part of our DNA. We Ghanaians look out for each other, even in modern chaotic urban settings, and even when we find ourselves outside our country. We still regard the upbringing and training of children as a group responsibility for the public good. And the most sophisticated amongst us is not embarrassed to show respect to the elderly. We might have become famous or infamous for being great travelers who can be found in all parts of the globe. But I can safely say that deep inside us, we love our country. We love Ghana. We take seriously the words of our national motto and have a passionate love for freedom and justice. Fellow Ghanaians, there's a long list of honored personalities that have played remarkable roles in getting Ghana to where she is today. Many of them have been publicly acknowledged and justifiably honored in various ways. The role of the Big Six, Joseph Boachi Dankwa, Emmanuel Obeche Bilamti, Edward Akufo Addo, William Uforiata, Ebenezer Akwaje and Kwame Nkrumah, our first president who led us to independence, in the struggle and attainment of independence, will never be forgotten. There are others, such as George Parr Grant, Komla Agbeli Gbedema, and Kojo Botsio, whose efforts deserve to be acknowledged, and we should continue to give honor where it is due. But I must also pay homage to the many Ghanaians who simply continue to do their jobs and execute their tasks competently without any fuss. They do not ask to be recognized or recompensed in any way. For, as the Prime Minister of the erstwhile Progress Party government of the Second Republic, Kofi Abrefa-Buzia, put it, and I quote, "It is by the devoted day-to-day service of many ordinary and unnoticed citizens that a nation achieves greatness," unquote. I pay homage to the many millions who routinely do what is right, what is virtuous in their daily activities to elevate the common good, and do not come to the attention of a president. On a day such as this, when we celebrate the official start of our nationhood, we should also pay homage to those who have led the fight for individual freedoms, the fight that has made it possible for the present generation to believe that multi-party constitutional form of government is part of our makeup, the fight that led to the changing of the words of our national anthem in 1967 to include the sacred injunction, quote, "Help us to resist oppressors' rule," unquote. I pay homage to all those who have led the fight to resist oppressors' rule every time attempts have been made to take our freedoms from us. I salute also those who insisted that the concepts of probity and accountability should be part of the governing principles of the Constitution of the Fourth Republic, whose silver jubilee we celebrated on 7th January by an interfaith service of thanksgiving to Almighty God for having ushered us into the longest uninterrupted period of stable constitutional governance in our history. Fellow Ghanaians, it is important that we never forget our history, and we try not to distort the truth about our past. The ugly and beautiful parts, they all deserve to be faithfully recorded and told. As our elders say, if you do not know where you are coming from, you are not likely to get to where you want to be. Our brothers and sisters in Nigeria probably capture it best, and I quote, "To forget is the same as to throw away," unquote. We should make an honest assessment of ourselves and the situation of our country and our continent. This puts a lot of responsibility on those who tell our daily stories. In these days of social media, the task is on all of us, and not only on the journalists and writers. A deliberate falsehood posted on a social media platform poses a great danger to all of us and undermines the credibility of the Ghana story. On a day such as today, our thoughts invariably stray to the past. But as the second president of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency John Akufo once put it, and I quote, "We do not intend to live on past memories, nor the Ghana story to be told only on what can be seen on old newsreel tapes, nor our sporting glories to be recounted only through the exploits of past heroes, unquote. To paraphrase Ephraim Amu in that great patriotic song, Yen Yar Ara Yasa Sinye, it is now our turn to build on those past glories. Edru Menewoso, Shebeyebi Atwaso. The litmus test is simple. Every day must bring some improvement in our lives. Today must be an improvement on tomorrow, on yesterday. And our tomorrow must certainly be better than our yesterday. Fellow Ghanaians, on this, our 61st anniversary of our independence, it is important to remind ourselves that around the time of our independence, we had peers such as Malaysia, South Korea, and Singapore. Our per capita incomes were very similar at around 450 United States dollars in 1960. And our economies were dependent on the production of primary commodities. Today, these countries, once our peers, have significantly transformed themselves into industrialized economies. Income per head in Singapore is now at 51,431 United States dollars. South Korea at 29,115 United States dollars. And Malaysia at 9,623 United States dollars, compared to Ghana's at 1,152 United States dollars. We are still dependent on the export of primary commodities, as was the case at the time of Golden Gettysburg. We must admit, sadly, that in the area of economic development, we have underachieved relative to our peers at independence. Even though underachievement may have been a major part of our history thus far, it should no longer be part of our destiny. The only nation we are destined to become is the one we choose and decide to be. We do not have to accept someone's definition of Africa or Ghana. We must define and craft our own destiny. As the American politician William Jennings Bryan once put it, and I quote, "Destiny is not a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be achieved," unquote. But achieving our destiny requires a deliberate qualitative change in all aspects of our lives, especially in the structure of our economy, the nature of our infrastructure, the education of our young people and acquisition of skills, and above all, in our attitudes and holding firm to the values that define us. The change in our fortunes will only happen when our economy improves. Since I became president, I've been advocating for a Ghana, indeed an Africa beyond aid, and I'm keen to have the support of all of us in this enterprise. Nobody needs to spell it out to us that the economic transformation we desire will not come through aid. We've been on that trajectory for most of the past 61 years, and it has not happened. We are told there is aid fatigue. The taxpayers of the aid givers have a right to decide how their tax money is spent. The truth is that even if there were no aid fatigue, and with the best will in the world, and the most charitable governments in place in the so-called donor countries, there will be never enough aid to develop Ghana to the level we want. Aid was never meant to be what would bring us to the status of a developed nation. I do not, by advocating a status beyond aid, want to inflict poverty on us or thumb our noses against those who have helped us and continue to do so. There's nothing to be gained in celebrating an ideological victory in poverty. There's no pride or dignity in poverty. There's no dignity in having hungry children or mothers dying needlessly in childbirth. And there's no dignity in drinking dirty water. We need no lessons in that. My fellow Ghanaians, ours is a country that is well endowed with many natural resources such as gold, bauxite, iron ore, diamonds, oil, natural gas, timber, cocoa, water, fertile land, etc. The truth, however, is that the state of our nation does not bear out that we have these natural endowments. Poverty continues to be our lot. Mismanagement, corruption, and high fiscal deficits have become the hallmarks of our economy, which we finance through borrowing and foreign aid. It is time to pursue a path to prosperity and self-respect for our nation. A Ghana beyond aid is a prosperous and self-confident Ghana that is in charge of her economic destiny. A transformed Ghana that is prosperous enough to be beyond needing aid and that engages competitively with the rest of the world through trade and investment. It is possible. It is not a pie-in-the-sky notion, because other countries, including some of our peers at independence, have done exactly that. It is doable, and we must believe that what others with less resources can do, we can do. However, we are not going to achieve the transformation in our economy, which is necessary for a Ghana beyond aid, by just talking about it. We have to do something about it. As a start, we have to do things differently to realize this goal of a Ghana beyond aid. Business as usual will not do it. It cannot happen by waving a magic wand, and it cannot be achieved overnight. Indeed, the most rapid cases of economic and social transformation in history, those in Southeast Asia, generally span a period of 30 years, about a generation. We cannot wait that long. We have wasted enough time already. It is time to get on with it, and the time is now. You've heard me say on a number of occasions, I'm a man in a hurry, but I'm also a realistic man. To get to a Ghana beyond aid, we will have to harness effectively our own resources and deploy them creatively and efficiently for rapid economic and social transformation. As I said in the Independence Day address last year, this will require, quote, hard work, enterprise, creativity, and a consistent fight against corruption in public life, unquote. It is also will require that we break from a mentality of dependency and adopt a confident can-do spirit fueled by love for our dear country, Ghana. We cannot subordinate the common good to build a prosperous nation to the selfish interest of a few. Moving beyond Ghana beyond aid means ensuring that future generations of Ghanaians have a healthy environment to inherit. We must thus be determined to protect our environment and water bodies by joining hands in the fight against illegal mining, also known as galamsey, in order to bring an end to the devastation of some of our landscape and the pollution of our water bodies occasioned by the activities of illegal miners. We have to win that fight to keep our environment clean and protect our heritage for our descendants. Fellow Ghanaians, we have started on the right path towards a prosperous future with the concrete steps we are taking to restore macroeconomic stability and economic growth. After a year of disciplined and innovative economic management, the results have been remarkable. Our economy has grown from 3.6% in 2016, the lowest in 22 years, to 7.9% in 2017, and is this year expected to grow at 8.3%, which would make it the fastest growing economy in the world. Inflation has gone down from 15.6% at the end of 2016 to 10.3% as of January this year. Ghanaian industry has witnessed a spectacular revival from a growth rate of negative 0.5% in 2016 to 17.7% in 2017. Interest rates are on the decline, the CD is stabilizing, and the fiscal deficit has gone down from 9.3% in 2016 to 5.6% of GDP in 2017, with a projection of 4.5% in 2018. Fiscal discipline has been restored and fiscal consolidation has taken hold. For the first time since 2016, government has been able to meet its fiscal deficit target. We will continue to manage the economy in a disciplined and sound framework so that we maintain fiscal and debt sustainability. This, in the long run, is fundamental to moving beyond aid. And improving disciplined macroeconomy is essential for expanding the economy and thereby creating jobs. This year, we will see vigorous job creation in the public sector, beginning with the recruitment of 100,000 young men and women in the Nation Builders Corps. But what I am seeking above all is the rapid growth of private sector jobs, both in industry and agriculture, i.e., for instance, in the program for planting for food and jobs, which should generate a lot of rural sector jobs. Moving beyond aid demands that effective measures are taken to address widespread unemployment, especially amongst our youth. We are on the right path to do so. Fellow Ghanaians, corruption, or more specifically, the stealing of public funds, continues to hold back the development of our country. A recent audit by the Auditor General into the liabilities of the ministries, departments, and agencies led to the disallowance of some 5.4 billion cedis of claims. These are fictitious claims that would otherwise have had to be paid, but for the eagle eye of the Auditor General. Can you imagine what we can do with 5.4 billion cedis? It can certainly finance the free SHS for 5 years. Corruption is not a partisan matter, and we must all act to protect the public purse. In the words of the first president of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, and I quote, "Combating corruption is not beyond us. Imagine the effect on our nation and our future if, for just a few months, all decent Ghanaians would have put aside their own convenience, apathy and faint-heartedness, and challenge every corruption, no matter how petty, which comes their way," unquote. With the Office of the Special Prosecutor now in place, we can expect more prosecutions for corruption in the public in the coming months. And public officials, past and present, should be on notice that they will be held accountable for their stewardship of our public finances. Government has also made, in 2017, significant savings of some 800 million cedis in government procurement as we depart from sole sourcing as the primary method of public procurement. That departure will strengthen our public finances and make it possible for us to finance our development ourselves. There is, however, one piece of the anti-corruption framework that is yet to be put in place: the Right to Information Bill. It would increase transparency and add another critical weapon to the armory in the fight against corruption. After many years of hesitation, we intend to bring a bill again to Parliament and work to get it passed into law before the end of this meeting of Parliament. The protection of the public purse is a social common good, and it depends on all of us. It is in all our interests that corruption does not thrive and we police each other's behavior. Going beyond aid means Ghanaians should not serve as fronts for foreign companies to defraud our country. It will mean we all pay our taxes as provided by law, and it will mean we all help to take care of government property as though it were our own. Fellow Ghanaians, getting our country to a situation beyond aid means we add value to our exports and stop the export of materials such as cocoa, gold, bauxite, manganese, and oil in their raw state. Our cocoa farmers, for example, get less than 10% of the value of a bar of chocolate, and yet cocoa is the main ingredient. On the world market, bauxite in its raw form is worth about 42 United States dollars per metric ton. Processing it just one stage further into alumina oxide will fetch twice that amount. Refining the alumina oxide into alumina will increase the value by 7 times, and smelted aluminium fetches 100-fold what it gets in the raw state. Aluminium, we're told, is the metal of the future. It is for this reason that Ghana has, since independence, sought to establish an integrated bauxite and aluminum industry. Thus far, this has remained a fond hope, but we are determined to make it happen within the next 3 years. Work on the law establishing an integrated bauxite and aluminum development authority is far advanced and will be submitted to Parliament very shortly. Government also hopes to reach an agreement soon with potential partners to establish an alumina refinery and expand the Valco smelter. A successful execution of this project will be key in moving Ghana beyond aid, as will be the successful exploitation of our iron ore and manganese deposits to build a steel industry for our country and the region. We are all aware of the vast sums of illicit financial flows from our continent that attend the exploitation of our natural resources, especially of our mineral wealth. We can no longer continue to blame others for that. We have to take our destiny into our own hands and design and carry out the appropriate policies and measures that will ensure that we get our fair and proper share of the value of that wealth. Government will be rolling out such policies as an integral part of our determination to move Ghana beyond aid. Fellow Ghanaians, we have huge infrastructure needs in the areas of roads, bridges, water, electricity, housing, hospitals, and schools. The problem has always been where to find the money. However, where there is a will, there is a way. My government is going to implement an alternative financing model to leverage our bauxite reserves in particular to finance a major infrastructure program across Ghana. This will probably be the largest infrastructure program in Ghana's history without any addition to Ghana's debt stock. It will involve the barter or exchange of refined bauxite for infrastructure. We expect to conclude this agreement and start its implementation this year. This will represent a paradigm shift in the financing of our development priorities and make it possible for Ghana to move beyond aid. Ladies and gentlemen, we now live in a digital world, and to be competitive, we have to be a part of and then take advantage of digitization. Since assuming office last year, we have undertaken deliberate policy reforms to digitize Ghana, to formalize our economy and leapfrog in some key areas. The National Identification and Address System, the driver's license and vehicle registration, the paperless operation at the ports, interoperability of payment system in the financial sector are all geared towards modernizing our economy, and we should begin to feel the difference when all these measures become operational this year. I'm looking forward particularly to the digitization of the land registration process to help the mortgage market and help release hundreds of billions of cedis to finance our development. Digitization would also allow the delivery of education and health services to remote areas, reduce corruption, expand the tax base, expand e-commerce, make credit more available as uncertainty is reduced for financial institutions, and increase domestic resource mobilization. Fellow Ghanaians, at its core, the poverty gap is a technology gap. The mastery of technology is what, at the end of the day, separates developed from developing countries, or rich from poor countries. This is a gap we have to bridge. We are laying a strong foundation for an educated and skilled workforce of the future through the free senior high school program, which this academic year enabled 90,000 additional young Ghanaians to enroll in SHS. These are our future scientists, engineers, modern farmers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and transformation agents. In the years ahead, the principal thrust of national development policy must be to ensure that science, technology, and innovation drive all sectors of the economy. We are going to commit resources to basic and applied science and engineering that should result in the development of our capacity to manufacture machinery, equipment, and component parts for industry, agriculture, especially machinery for planting, harvesting, and processing of produce. Fellow Ghanaians, as a government committed to the growth of the private sector, we believe that the private sector should be the critical partner in moving Ghana beyond aid. In truth, part of our problem has been that government tries to do too much, tries to take on far too much beyond its capacity. There are many projects in roads, railways, water transport, agriculture, etc., which, if properly structured, will attract private sector financing. Key to attracting private sector investment is a conducive, business-friendly, and peaceful environment. My dear fellow Ghanaians, all these plans and big dreams I have outlined will come to naught if we do not have peace in our country. The primary requirement for prosperity is peace. The first obligation on any government is to ensure the safety and security of the citizenry. As your president, this is an obligation I accept, and I am determined to discharge faithfully. The recent spate of armed robberies is totally unacceptable. I will work to ensure the citizens are able to go about their daily duties in the confidence that they are safe. No miscreant will have the space to terrorize citizens and generate a sense of insecurity in our country. The police have the primary responsibility of maintaining peace and keeping law and order in our society, and in exceptional cases, with the backing of the armed forces. The government is doing and will do whatever it takes to enable the police discharge their duties effectively. We are providing the means for them to modernize their equipment and learn modern methods of policing, and their numbers will be rapidly increased to match our growing population and the sophistication and audacity of the criminals. We should not forget that the police need the help and support of the community to be able to do their work. We dare not lose our reputation as a haven of peace and security. I urge you all to join in making sure that there is no hiding place in our midst for those who would disturb our peace. For my part, I will do whatever is necessary within the confines of the Constitution and the laws of the land to ensure the peace of our country. Let us, on this joyful occasion, salute the leadership and the gallant men and women of our security forces who in the various operations, Calm Life, Cowley, and Vanguard, are putting their lives on the line to protect our environment and guarantee our safety and security. They are patriots indeed. Fellow Ghanaians, Ghana Beyond Aid is meant to be more than a slogan. It is meant to propel us into the frame of mind that will quicken the pace of our development. It is meant to change our mindset from one of dependency to one of achieving our destiny. It is meant to put us in charge of our own affairs and make us truly independent. Above all, Ghana Beyond Aid will give us the respect and dignity we deserve. Let us believe in ourselves. Let us believe in Ghana and in Mother Africa. God bless us all. God bless Africa. God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your anniversary address.
President Nana Addo Akufo Addo just delivering her 61st independence anniversary address, and he made a lot of quotable statements. He says to forget is the same as to throw away. He also says the economic transformation we desire will not come from aid. He says there is aid fatigue, and he says corruption is not a partisan matter. And after the president has spoken, the parade commander asking permission to continue with the rest of.
Yeah.
He's asking for permission to do what?
To undertake the yell.
Okay. And what's the significance of the yell?
Well, yells were derived from battle cries. You know that even the bravest person will be paralyzed with fear. However, the battle cries urges the fighter on.